The knife slipped from my hand, clattering against the chipped formica counter like a gunshot in the dead of night. Blood welled up from the shallow cut on my thumb, but it was nothing compared to the ache in my chest, the kind that had followed me from Philly to this godforsaken Brooklyn walk-up, chasing dreams that felt more like ghosts. I stared at the crimson drop hitting the sink, wondering if this was the universe's way of saying, "Welcome home, Angel. You're already bleeding." I'd barely unpacked my duffel bag when the door rattled open, and in strode Dominic, all broad shoulders and easy swagger, like he owned the whole damn borough. "Yo, new roomie, hope you like beer and bad decisions," he called out, his voice a low rumble that hit me square in the gut. He was straight as an arrow, or so his Grindr bio had implied when I'd stalked it out of sheer masochistic curiosity. Tattoos snaking up his forearms, a fade haircut sharp enough to cut glass, and eyes the color of storm clouds over the East River. 6'2" of Midwestern transplant muscle, fresh off a construction gig in Queens, crashing here because rent in New York was a motherfucker. I forced a grin, wiping my hand on a dish towel that smelled faintly of someone else's regret. "Angel," I said, extending my good hand. "And I'm all about the bad decisions. Just don't judge the glitter on my shoes." He laughed, a sound like gravel under tires, and clapped my shoulder hard enough to jolt the ache loose for a second. "Dominic. Call me Dom. And glitter's cool. Makes you look like you just robbed a disco." He dropped a six-pack on the wobbly kitchen table, cracking one open and sliding it my way. Our fingers brushed, and I swear the room tilted, the fluorescent bulb overhead buzzing like a swarm of doubts. Straight guy. Roommate. Recipe for disaster. Served ice cold. That first night, we ordered pizza extra cheese, because why not drown in carbs when life's already a grease fire, and sprawled on the sagging couch that came with the lease. The apartment was a shoebox, peeling wallpaper in the living room, a bedroom each that shared a bathroom thinner than my patience, and windows that overlooked a fire escape tangled with pigeon shit and faded Christmas lights. But it was mine. Ours. After Mom's endless lectures about finding a real job, and Dad's silent disappointment over the son who preferred boys to the family auto shop, this felt like freedom. Or at least, the illusion of it. Dom kicked off his boots, propping his feet on the coffee table scarred with cigarette burns from God knows who. "So, what brings a Philly boy to the Big Apple? Chasing Broadway or some shit?" I took a swig of the beer, the bitterness grounding me. "Bartending, mostly. Slings drinks at this dive in Williamsburg called the Rusty Nail. Pays the bills, lets me audition on the side." The auditions were sporadic, more hope than hustle, but admitting I was one rejection from busking on the subway felt too raw. He nodded, eyes flicking to the script peeking from my bag. Rent, dog-eared and underlined like a lover's letters. "Actor. Huh? Respect. I tried out for the high school play once. Grease. Got cast as Danny, but choked on opening night. Forgot every damn line." His grin was sheepish, boyish, and it cracked something in me I didn't know was sealed. We talked until the pizza box was a cardboard graveyard, the city humming outside like a beast that never slept. He told me about growing up in Cleveland, fixing cars with his old man, the divorce that sent him east with nothing but a toolbox and a chip on his shoulder. I spilled about the theater kid who broke my heart senior year, how I'd painted my nails black for prom just to watch him squirm. Dom listened, really listened, his knee bumping mine accidentally on purpose as we shifted on the couch. "Sounds like bullshit," he said finally, voice soft. "You deserve better than that punk." By midnight, The beers had blurred the edges, and I was laughing at his impression of a drunk pigeon, arms flapping, cooing obscenities when he went quiet. Too quiet. His gaze lingered on my mouth, then snapped away, like he'd been caught stealing. "Hey," he said, standing abruptly, "gonna crash. Early shift tomorrow." "Night, Angel. Night, Dom." I watched him disappear into his room, door clicking shut like a full stop. Alone with the TV's blue glow and the throb in my thumb, I bandaged the cut, wondering why my pulse raced like I'd run a marathon. Straight roommate. Bad idea. But as I crawled into my lumpy bed, sheets smelling of thrift store lavender, I couldn't shake the warmth of his laugh echoing in my bones. The next morning hit like a hangover without the fun. Alarm blaring at 6 a.m., coffee brewing black as my mood. Dom was already up, shirtless in the kitchen, muscles flexing as he scrambled eggs with one hand and scrolled his phone with the other. Jesus. I averted my eyes, focusing on the fridge magnets shaped like the Statue of Liberty, all chipped and ironic. "Mornin'. Sunshine," he teased, plating the eggs like it was no big deal. "Fuel up. Can't have you passing out behind the bar." I mumbled thanks, sliding onto a stool that wobbled under me. The domesticity of it all, him cooking, me pretending not to notice the ink on his back. A soaring eagle mid-flight, felt dangerously normal. We ate in companionable silence, fork scraping, until he broke it. "Hey, you got plans tonight? There's this dive bar in Bushwick Pool. Cheap whiskey. Come through." My heart did a stupid flip. Yeah, I'm in. Work that day was a blur. Shaking cocktails for hipsters in ironic mustaches, dodging propositions from tourists who thought bartender meant easy lay. By 10 p.m., I was off, scrubbing glitter from my eyeliner in the bathroom mirror before heading out. Dom texted outside. "Bike's yours if you want." "A motorcycle." "Of course." He pulled up on a beat-up Harley, helmet dangling from the handlebars like an afterthought. "Hop on," he said, patting the seat behind him. The engine roared to life, vibrating through me as I wrapped my arms around his waist. Solid, warm, forbidden. Wind whipped my hair as we tore through Brooklyn streets, neon signs bleeding into the night. At the bar, a hole in the wall called O'Malley's, we claimed a corner table, pool cues in hand. He was shit at 8-ball, bless him, potting solids like they owed him money, but his focus was magnetic, tongue poking his cheek in concentration. I sank the 9, leaning over the table, and caught him staring. Not at the balls. At me. "Your form's killer," he muttered, chalking his cue. "Practice," I shot back, heat rising in my cheeks. We played 3 games. I won 2. Whiskey shots followed, loosening tongues and limbs. He confessed he'd kissed a guy once, drunk at a frat party in college curiosity. He called it voice laced with something unspoken. I shared about my first boyfriend, the one who ghosted after I came out to my folks. The air thickened, charged like the storm brewing over the skyline. Back at the apartment, buzzed and bold, we collapsed on the couch again. His arm draped over the backrest, fingers inches from my shoulder. "You're different, Angel," he said, words slurring soft. "Not like the assholes I roomed with before. You get it." I turned, our faces close enough to taste the whiskey on his breath. "Get what?" "This city. The grind. The loneliness." His hand moved, thumb brushing my jaw, Tentative. My breath hitched. Straight. Roommate. But then his lips were on mine. Rough. Hesitant. Tasting of smoke and regret. And the world narrowed to that point of contact. Fireworks exploding behind my eyelids. He pulled back first. Eyes wide with panic. Shit. Angel. Don't. I whispered, heart hammering. Don't say it was a mistake. But he did, bolting to his room like I'd burned him. Door slammed. Silence. I sat there, lips tingling, wondering if I'd just lit the fuse on a bomb we'd both regret. The days blurred into a tense routine. Shared breakfasts where eyes darted like thieves. Late nights where the couch became neutral territory. TV droning to fill the void. Dom worked doubles, coming home smelling of sawdust and sweat, collapsing without a word. I poured drinks, auditioned for bit parts, a waiter in an off-Broadway Cats revival, cut after callbacks, and nursed the bruise of that kiss like a secret bruise. One evening, rain lashing the windows like accusations, he cornered me in the kitchen. We gotta talk about it. I gripped the counter, knuckles white. About what? The part where you kissed me and ran. He winced, running a hand over his buzzed head. I'm not. I've never. Straight words from a straight guy, but his eyes begged otherwise. Save it, Dom. I get it. Experiment over. Back to brothers. But he stepped closer, heat radiating. It's not that simple. You're in my head, man. All the damn time, the confession hung, electric. I closed the gap, kissing him fierce this time, no hesitation, no escape. He groaned into it, hands fisting my shirt, pulling me flush. We stumbled to my room, clothes shedding like inhibitions, bodies tangling in the dim light. His touch was reverent, exploratory, fingers tracing my ribs, lips mapping collarbones. Angel, he breathed, like a prayer. And for the first time in years, I felt seen. Not the gay kid from Philly, not the struggling actor. Just me. We didn't sleep much that night. Dawn crept in, painting his skin gold, and I traced the tattoos, learning their stories. The eagle for his mom, lost to cancer, a compass for the dad who never came back. He woke slow, smiling lazy, pulling me close. Morning, beautiful, for a week. It was bliss, a secret rhythm in the chaos of New York. Stolen kisses over coffee, his hand on my thigh under the table at diners, nights where we'd fuck slow and deep, whispering vulnerabilities into sweat-damp sheets. He called it us, tentative but real. I believed him. Then the text started. His phone buzzing at odd hours, face tightening as he silenced it. Work stuff, he'd mutter, but I saw the name Jake. Ex from Cleveland. All caps, we need TO talk messages that he deleted like evidence. I ignored it, chalking it up to paranoia. Until the night he came home late, reeking of cologne that wasn't his. Eyes evasive. Where were you? I asked, voice steady as I could manage. With friends. Blow off steam. It slithered between us, coiling tight. The fight brewed slow, erupting over burnt toast 2 days later. If you're ashamed, just say it, I shouted, plate shattering against the wall. I'm not ashamed, he roared back, veins bulging in his neck. It's Jake. He showed up. Said he misses me. I told him to fuck off. But what? You kissed him back. The words clawed out, venomous. He deflated, shoulders slumping. One kiss. Stupid. I'm sorry, Angel. It doesn't mean. Get out. The words were ice. Final. He packed a bag. Door clicking shut behind him like the end of an act. Alone again, the apartment echoed with ghosts. I curled on the couch, replaying every touch, every lie. Betrayal tasted like ash, but beneath it, a flicker, hope, stupid and stubborn. Weeks dragged like bad monologues, endless, overwritten, no applause. The rusty nail became my confessional, where I'd pour shots for strangers and swallow my own tears neat. Dom's absence was a hole, punched through the drywall of my routine. No more eggs in the morning, no laughter echoing off the fire escape. His room sat empty, dust gathering on the nightstand like unspoken apologies. I'd find his hoodie in the closet sometimes, buried under my scripts, and press it to my face, inhaling the ghost of his cedar and smoke scent. Pathetic? Hell yes. But heartbreak's a bitch that doesn't care about dignity. Auditions dried up. Directors saw the hollow in my eyes and passed. Too intense, one said, like emotion was a flaw. I buskied instead, belting show tunes on the L train for crumpled singles, voice cracking on the high notes. New York chewed you up and spat you out flavored with regret. But I stayed, stubborn as the pigeons that shit on my dreams. Then, a postcard arrived, no stamp, slipped under the door like contraband. Miss you. Coffee? D. My pulse stuttered. I crumpled it, then smoothed it out, tracing the scrawl of his handwriting. Forgiveness is a luxury for fools, but longing's a debt that compounds overnight. I showed up at the diner anyway, a greasy spoon in Midtown where waitresses called everyone Han. He was in a booth by the window, nursing black coffee, looking like he'd aged a decade in a month, stubble shadowing his jaw, eyes ringed with fatigue. Angel, he breathed as I slid in opposite, the vinyl seat sticking to my jeans. You look like shit, I said. No hello, no warmth. The waitress hovered, notepad poised, but I waved her off. This wasn't a date, it was an autopsy. He chuckled, bitter. Fair. You look good. Different haircut. Shut up, but my fingers twitched, wanting to reach across the Formica divide. Why now? Jake, not enough drama. His jaw tightened. Jake's ancient history. Showed up, stirred shit, but I sent him packing for good. Been crashing on a buddy's couch since. Angel, I fucked up. Bad. Understatement of the year. I stirred sugar into my coffee I didn't want, watching granules dissolve like trust. You kissed him. After us. After you said, I know. He leaned forward, elbows on the table, voice low and raw. Panic? Okay. He was my first real thing, back when I was figuring shit out. But you're the real deal. That night, every night changed me. Made me see I'm not as straight as I thought. Or maybe I never was. The confession landed soft, punch wrapped in velvet. I searched his face, those storm cloud eyes, pleading, and saw truth, jagged and honest. Then why run? Fear. Of labels. Of losing the bro code I built my life on. But mostly, fear of hurting you more. He reached, hesitant, covering my hand with his. Calluses rough from hammers and hope. Give me another shot? Please. I pulled away, but not far. One condition. No more secrets. And we take it slow. Like torturously slow. His smile cracked dawn over the table. Deal. We started over, tentative as a rehearsal read-through. Coffee turned to walks in Prospect Park, where leaves crunched underfoot like fragile promises, and he'd steal glances, blushing when caught. He moved back in, tentative, boxes unpacked one at a time, and the apartment breathed again, walls less oppressive. Nights were PG movies on the couch, his head on my shoulder, fingers interlacing like puzzle pieces slotting home. The kiss came later, in the elevator of his old construction site, rain pounding outside. Urgent, affirming. No running this time. But shadows lingered. His phone still buzzed, work buddies razzying him about that artsy roommate, and I'd catch him staring at the mirror, flexing like he was armoring up against his own reflection. You ever think about telling them? I asked one night, tangled in sheets after a makeout session that left us both breathless but clothed. Who? The crew, he sighed, tracing circles on my hip. Nah. Not yet. Complicated. They think I'm the straight shooter, literally. Jokes about pussy and power tools. Coming out? That's a whole demo job. I nodded, swallowing the sting. Visibility was my armor, rainbow pins on my jacket, drag nights at the bar. But his world was rebar and rivets. No room for glitter. Just don't let it demo us. Thanksgiving loomed, turkey ads blaring from every bodega TV, and with it, the inevitable family. Mine wanted nothing to do with the phase. Dad's voicemail a gruff, call if you need a real job. Dom's invite came casual, over pumpkin pie from the corner deli. Ma's doing a thing in Cleveland. Train's cheap. Come meet the chaos. My gut twisted. Meet the fam? As what, roomie or boyfriend? He paused. Fork midway. Boyfriend. If you want. I did. God. I did. The train ride was a fever dream. Amtrak's sway lulling us into dozing, his hand in mine under a shared blanket, whispers about nothing and everything. Cleveland greeted us gray and gritty, snow flurrying like confetti from a sad parade. His mom's house was a bungalow on the edge of town, porch light flickering welcome, the air thick with cinnamon and suspicion. Dommy, Mrs. Russo enveloped him in a hug that swallowed his frame, then turned to me, praising. And you must be Angel. The actor. Dominic's told me all about you. Heat flooded my cheeks as she bustled us inside. The living room a shrine to family photos. Dom as a gap-toothed kid. Prom tux awkward. No hints of the man who'd unravel me. Dinner was chaos. Aunts pinching cheeks. Uncles grilling about the city life. Plates piled with stuffing and sarcasm. Dom sat close, knee pressed to mine under the table, a silent anchor. Then Uncle Vinny, 3 beers deep, clapped Dom's back. So, when you settlin' down, got a girl yet? That Jake kid said you were seeing someone. The table hushed. Dom's fork stilled, color draining. I held my breath, waiting for the demo. Nah, Uncle. No girl. He glanced at me, stealing. Actually, Angel's my guy. We're together. Silence, thick as gravy. Then his ma beamed, squeezing my hand. About time you brought home someone decent. Laughter rippled, awkward but warm, and just like that, the ceiling held. We crashed in his old room that night, twin beds pushed together, bodies fitting like they remembered. Proud of you, I murmured into his neck, his arms tightening. Lying, he whispered back. but his voice cracked with truth. Back in Brooklyn, the high lingered until it didn't. Christmas Eve. Bar packed with revelers slinging eggnog bombs. I got the call. Dom. Voice tight. Crew's doing a thing at O'Malley's. Come later. I did. Weaving through the crowd. Spotting him at the bar with the guys, beers flowing. Laughs loud. Jake was there too. Uninvited ghost. Arms slung over Dom's shoulder. Whispering something that made him tense. I hung back, watching as Jake leaned in, lips brushing ear. Dom shrugged him off, but not before I saw the flinch, the old pull. When he saw me, relief flooded his face. Angel, come here. He pulled me into the circle. Introductions slurred. My man, Angel. The crew hooted. Backslaps exchanged. But Jake's eyes narrowed. Possessive. Shots later, the room spun. Jake cornered me in the bathroom, breath hot with bourbon. You think you can just waltz in? Dom straight. Sweetheart. This is a phase. Fuck off, I snarled, shoving past. But doubt wormed in, cold and insistent. Dom found me outside, snow dusting his lashes. What's wrong, Jake? Says you're playing me, he growled, low. He's lying. Full of shit. He kissed me then, hard against the brick wall, claiming. But as we stumbled home, cab fogging with our breaths, I wondered if phases had expiration dates. New Year's dawned brutal. Hangover and heartache. Dom snoring beside me as I stared at the ceiling cracks mapping our fractures. Work called double shift and I left him a note, out late. Love you. Simple words, heavy as lead. The bar was a zoo, resolutions sloshing in every glass. By 2 a.m., I was wiping down, feet aching, when my phone lit. Dom. Where are you? Need you. Heart lurching. I bolted, cab racing through slushy streets. The apartment door hung ajar, light spilling like blood. Inside, chaos, overturned lamp, Jake on the floor clutching his jaw, Dom looming, fists clenched. What the fuck? I gasped, dropping keys. He broke in, Dom panted, wild-eyed. Tried to convince me to leave you, Jake spat, blood flecking his lip. He's confused, man. I love him. Get out, Dom thundered, voice breaking thunder. Or I call the cops. Jake slunk away, door slamming final. We collapsed together, me patching his knuckles with ice, him burying face in my lap. I chose you, he whispered. Always, but choice, I learned, is a fragile thing. Spring crept in, tentative as our love, cherry blossoms in the park, where we'd picnic with cheap wine and cheaper dreams. Dom came out fully, texts to buddies, a post on Insta with my hand in his, caption my person. Backlash came, lost shifts, whispers on sites, but he stood tall, eagle tattoo flexing like defiance. I booked a gig, understudy in a revival of Angels in America off-Broadway. Prior Walter, I told him, tears pricking. The prophet. He pulled me close that night, bodies joining in celebration, slow, sacred, him inside me like homecoming. You're my angel, he murmured, and I believed in wings. But betrayal's a shadow that lengthens. One humid July eve, I came home early, script in hand, to find them, Dom and Jake, on our couch, lips locked, hands wandering. The script fell, pages scattering like confetti from hell. Angel, Dom jerked back, face ashen. I laughed. Hollow. Round 3? Encore. Jake smirked. Smug. Told you. I grabbed my bag. Stuffing essentials, clothes, heart, shards. Don't follow me. The door closed on his pleas, and I ran into the night, rain washing tears, wondering if love was just a set with a trapdoor. The hostel on the Lower East Side smelled like stale dreams and desperation. Bunk beds stacked like regrets, shared bathroom echoing with strangers' snores. I crashed there 3 nights, auditioning by day, numb by night. Angels in America rehearsals started without fanfare. The director, a wiry queer named Theo with a voice like velvet gravel, took one look at my hollow cheeks and cast me as lead anyway. Pain's your superpower, kid, he said, clapping my shoulder. Use it. Rehearsals were salvation. Lines spilling from me like bloodletting, Pryor's rage mirroring my own. We are not marked, squarely, solidly. We stand. I'd belt into the empty theater, voice cracking on the edges, castmates nodding like they saw the war inside. Offstage, I ghosted Dom. No calls, no texts, just blocks and barriers. His voicemails piled. Please, Angel. It was nothing. Let me explain. Delete. The pain was mine to hoard. Brooklyn felt like a betrayal now, the apartment a crime scene I'd fled. Sublet cash from a pitying castmate kept me afloat, but sleep evaded, chased by flashbacks, his mouth on Jake's, eyes fluttering shut in guilty pleasure. How many times? Lies layered like varnish, cracking under truth's hammer. Theo noticed. Of course, directors always do. Over lukewarm craft services coffee, he cornered me. Spill, darling. You're channeling Kushner on steroids. I hesitated, then cracked. The roommate, the kiss, the fall, the shatter. He listened, unblinking, then hugged me fierce. Betrayal's the great equalizer. But you're not broken, you're forged. Now, channel that fire into Act 2. I did. Opening night loomed. Tickets selling out to the theater crowd, drag queens in the front row. Critics scribbling in the dark. Backstage, makeup heavy as armor. I texted one name unblocked. Opening tonight. Don't come. Petty? Yes. Necessary? God? Yes. The curtain rose. Lights hot as judgment. I stepped into Pryor. The stage swallowing me whole, NYC skyline projected behind. AIDS crisis raw as yesterday's wound. My monologue poured out. Voice steady then shattering. I am a gay man. And I am terrified. The audience leaned in. Breath held. And for 2 hours, I wasn't Angel the Fool, I was prophet. Survivor. Unbowed. Applause thundered at curtain call. Flowers at my feet. Theo's grin wide as the Hudson. In the alley after, cast toasting with plastic cups of champagne. My phone buzzed. Dom saw the review. Proud. Can we talk? I typed no. Hit send. Then deleted the thread. But pride's a fleeting high. By dawn. Alone in my bunk. The crash hit. Sobs muffled into pillow. Body aching for the warmth I'd banished. He showed up at the theater a week later. Post-matinee. Flowers wilting in his fist like his resolve. I emerged, sweat slick from the roll, to find him leaning on the brick. Eyes red-rimmed. Angel. Please. Security hovered, but I waved them off. 5 minutes. Then gone. We walked to a nearby stoop. City bustle, an indifferent backdrop. He thrust the roses at me, red as accusations. It was a mistake. Jake ambushed me, drunk, high on nostalgia. I pushed him away, but you walked in mid-push. I swear. Lies. Dom. You've been texting him for months. I saw the history before I left. He paled. You. Snooped. Call it survival. Wind-whipped. Carrying exhaust and regret. You chose confusion over us. Twice. 3 times, he admitted, voice breaking. But I'm clean now. Therapy. AA for the bullshit patterns. Ma kicked my ass. 2. Said if I let you go, I'm dumber than my old man. He stepped closer, desperate. I love you. Not as an experiment. As my everything. The words pierced. Sweet poison. I wanted to believe God. The hunger for it. But trust was rubble. Foundation cracked. I love you too, I whispered. Loved. Past tense. Go home. Dom. He left the flowers. Walked away, shoulders bowed. I crushed petals underfoot, staining my boots crimson, and went inside to play the wounded for strangers who applauded. Summer sweltered, rehearsals bleeding into runs. The show a hit, Times Review calling me a revelation in vulnerability. Offers trickled, voice work, a pilot audition for HBO. Money flowed, enough for a studio in Hell's Kitchen, sunlit and solo. I furnished its sparse bed, desk, a poster of Rent mocking from the wall. Dates came easy, bar hookups, theater boys with easy smiles, but none stuck. Sex was release, not revelation. Mornings left me emptier. Dom faded to periphery. Mutual friends' whispers, a sighting at O'Malley's where he nursed one beer and left alone. Part of me hoped he'd crumble, part prayed he'd heal. Humanistic, they call it, seeing the betrayer as human. Flawed, forgivable. But forgiveness, that's divine, and I'm no god. Fall chilled the air, leaves turning like pages in a script I couldn't rewrite. One night, post-closing, I wandered into a poetry slam at the Bowery. Mic open. Crowd hungry. I signed up on impulse. Spilling verses unpolished. Straight lines bend in the dark / roommate's ghost in the spark / betrayed by the beat of his heart. The room hushed. Then erupted. A woman in the front row, tears streaking, slipped me her card. Spoken word tour. Interested. Why not? Auditions be damned. Words were my new stage. The tour kicked off in December. Boston. Philly. Back to my roots. Philly hit hardest. Performing in the same theater where I'd first kissed a boy. Stage lights forgiving the quiver in my voice. Post-show. In a dive bar nursing ginger ale. My phone rang, unknown. I answered, voice wary. Angel? It's Ma. Russo. My breath caught. Mrs. R. How? Dom. He gave me your number months ago. Said if things went south, to check on you. Pause. Heavy. He's not good, kid. Lost the job. Drinking again. Talks about you nonstop. Like you're the sun he can't reach. Guilt twisted. Sharp. He made his choices. I know. But love is not a choice. It's a calling. Her voice softened. Maternal ache. Come home for Christmas? Not for him. For you. Closure's a gift. I hung up, staring at the bar's neon open sign, flickering like a heartbeat. Closure. The word tasted like ash and absolution. Christmas Eve. Snow blanketing Cleveland in hush. I pulled up to the bungalow in a rental Civic. nerves jangling like keys. Mrs. Russo hugged me at the door, flour-dusted apron whispering of pies baking. He's out back, smoking his regrets. The yard was a winter sketch. String lights twinkling feeble, fire pit cold. Dom sat on an Adirondack, cigarette glowing like a lone star, breath fogging the air. He looked wrecked, thinner, shadows under eyes like bruises, but rose slow, stamping out the smoke. Angel, no plea, just my name, Reverent. Ma called. I shoved hands in pockets, snow crunching under boots. Said you needed something. He nodded, gaze on the ground. Air. Truth. I'm sorry. Not excuses, real sorry. For the kiss, the lies, the cowardice. I was scared of who I am with you. Gay. Bi. Whatever. But without you, just lost. Wind howled, carrying church bells distant. I stepped closer, close enough to see the frost on his lashes. I forgave you weeks ago. Hating you was exhausting. His head snapped up, hope dawning fragile. Then, not together. Not yet. But friends, maybe. If you fight for you first. Relief sagged his shoulders. I am. Sober 30 days. Group meetings. Even wrote a letter to Jake, ending it final. I smiled. Small. Proud. We went inside. Ma's feast waiting. Ham glazed golden. Stories flowing like wine. No knee bumps under the table, but glances lingered, soft with possibility. That night, guest room spare but warm, I lay awake, listening to his snores through the wall. Healing's a solo act, but proximity, it's the understudy waiting in the wings. Back in New York, the tour ramped, Chicago, LA. Cities blurring into spotlights and strangers' cheers. Dom texted sparingly, killed it in Philly, saw the clip. Miss your voice. I replied, building bridges from embers. Miss your laugh. Keep fighting. Valentine's, alone in a Seattle motel, red hearts mocking from the TV. I broke. Dialed his number, heart in throat. Hey, hey, pause. Electric. What's up? Nothing. Everything. I want to try again. Slow. Real. Silence. Then his laugh, gravel and grace. Thought you'd never ask. Spring renewal, he visited set, me guesting his site, watching him hammer beams like building us anew. Dates were chased at first, picnics, museums then heated, bodies remembering paths. No rush to labels, we were just Dominic and Angel, two men mending in the American sprawl. But climax brews in calm. One June dawn, sirens wailed, pulling me from sleep. News blared, construction collapse in Queens, beams buckling under sabotage. Dom's crew. My call went to voicemail, then connect. Angel? It's bad. Hospital smelled of bleach and fear. Fluorescent hell. He was in ER. Leg shattered. Face bandaged. But alive. Eyes finding mine through the haze. Truck hit the site. Brake line cut. Jake. The name chilled. Betrayal's encore. Vengeful. Cops came. Statements taken. Jake confessed later, jealous rage. Wire cutters in his trunk. Wanted him back. Thought it'd break you for good. Didn't. Forged. The waiting room was a purgatory of beige walls and bad coffee. Magazines splayed like distractions no one bought. Paste. Phone clutched like a lifeline. Dom's sister Frankie arriving in a flurry of perfume and panic. Angel? Ma called, you're the one, right? She hugged me fierce. No questions. Just solidarity in the Russo way. Yeah. He's tough. He'll pull through. Words for her. For me. Mantra against the dread coiling in my gut. Hours stretched. Surgeon emerging at noon. Compound fracture. Pins in place. Concussion. But stable. Lucky. Lucky. The word mocked as I entered his room. Beeps syncing with my pulse. He was pale. Fore-dripped. But grinned weak when he saw me. Hey, hero. Come to sign my cast. I laughed. Watery. Sinking into the chair beside. Only if you promise not to draw dicks on mine. His hand found mine. Tubes tangling. Squeeze firm despite the painkiller's fog. Jake, he rasped. Fucker planned it. Cops got him downtown. I know. Rage simmered. But here, holding him, it banked to embers. We'll get through. Together. He nodded. Eyes heavy. Love you, Angel. For real this time. Shoo. Rest. I stayed till visiting hours booted me. Cab home, a blur of skyline and sobs held in check. The aftermath was a grind. Physical therapy 3 times weekly. Dom hobbling on crutches like a pirate in a rom-com gone wrong. I played nurse. Soups simmered. Pillows fluffed. Our apartment a cocoon of care. Nights. He'd prop leg on the coffee table. Me massaging calves knotted with atrophy. Stories spilling. His fears of dependency. My terror of loss. What if he walks free? He'd mutter, staring at the ceiling fan whirring lazy. He won't. Assault with intent. Jail time. But justice felt hollow. Scars lingered. Visible on his skin. Invisible in our trust. Trial came swift. August heat wave turning the courthouse a sweatbox. We sat front row. Dom's brace creaking. My hand in his slick with nerves. Jake entered. Shackled and shrunken. Eyes darting to Dom like a plea. Testimony gutted. Texts plotting. Tools bought under alias. I loved him. Jake whined on stand. Voice cracking. You stole him. Objection overruled. The DA tore in. Love doesn't sabotage lives. Verdict. Guilty. 5 years. No parole soon. As bailiffs led him away, Jake's gaze locked on me, hate distilled. I met it steady, unblinking. Victory tasted bittersweet. Champagne flat without vengeance's thrill. Recovery deepened us. Dom off crutches by September. First steps unaided a triumph we celebrated with takeout tie on the fire escape. City twinkling consent below. To second acts, he toasted. Chopsticks clinking my glass. Theater kid says third. I leaned in, kissing slow. The world fading to his taste, salt and spice in us. Fall brought harvest. Angels closed to standing ovations. My understudy stepping up. But agents circled for film. Dom landed a foreman gig. Desk job for now. Barking orders with that rumble that still melted me. We traveled light weekend in the Hamptons. Borrowed beach house where waves crashed like applause. Bodies bare under dunes. Making love with the sun as witness. But conflict simmers eternal. Thanksgiving Redux, his crew, now briefed on the boyfriend, invited us to a potluck in Queens. I braced for side-eye, but beers passed. Stories swapped, me regaling with stage war tales, them razzying Dom about his soft side. One buddy, Mike, pulled me aside, heard about the accident. Jake was a prick, but you saved him. Kept him sober, Steady. Not me. Him. But warmth bloomed. Acceptance. Hard won. Tasted like home. Christmas. We hosted Ma Russo in from Cleveland. Tree scavenged from a lot. Ornaments mismatched as our path. Gifts unwrapped slow. For him, a leather-bound journal. Write your story, not just build them. For me, a compass necklace, engraved true north. You, he said simply, clasping it. That night, under twinkling lights, we made love on the couch, gentle, profound, his hands mapping me like blueprints revised. New Year dawned with promise. Resolutions whispered at midnight, lips brushing. No more running, he vowed. No more hiding, I echoed. Spring 2026 bloomed defiant. Cherry trees defiant against concrete. Our love a root system underground. I booked the Normal Heart Revival. Ned Weeks' fire suiting my blaze. Dom surprised with tickets to his first show. Front row. Tears streaking during the hospital scene. That's us, he whispered after, hailing a cab. Survivors. Summer heat peaked with a proposal. Not ring, but real, road trip cross-country. To see America, the real one. We packed the Harley, duffel strapped, hitting Route 66 in reverse, from NYC to LA, detours galore. Chicago blues bars, where he'd two-step clumsy to my lead. Grand Canyon sunsets, hands linked on the rim, vastness humbling our small hurts. Motels cheap and charming, beds creaking under reunions nightly, him inside me under desert stars, moans lost to wind. In Vegas, neon assault, he knelt in our room, casino glow filtering curtains, not with a ring, but a key to a house. Somewhere. When you're ready, I pulled him up, kissing fierce. Ready now, but climax crests unbidden. En route to LA, Wyoming plains endless. Radio crackling a news bulletin. Prison break. Jake vanished from a transport van. Armed and dangerous. My blood iced. Coincidence, Dom said. Throttle steady. Focus on us. But paranoia shadowed. Rest stops where eyes lingered too long. Motels with locks double-checked. In Utah, red rocks glowing. We argued, me snapping at shadows. Him weary of the watch. He's gone. Angel. Let it go. Easy for you. He tried to kill you. For us. He pulled over. Planes whispering. Cupping my face. I won't let him steal this. Steal you. We made up under the Milky Way. Bodies urgent. Reclaiming ground. LA welcomed with sprawl and shine. Hollywood sign mocking from hills. Additions lining up. We crashed with a theater pal. Days blurring to callbacks. Nights to dives where Dom charmed agents with his grin. Then, the call. Highway patrol. Nevada border. Jake apprehended. Thumbprint on a stolen truck. Ranting about taking back what's mine. Dom exhaled. Bone deep. Over. Not over, I said, hugging tight. Just the intermission. Back east by August. House hunt serious. Brownstone in bed stewy. Porch swing dreaming. Closing day. Keys in hand. We christened the foyer. Laughing. Loving. Paint fresh and hopeful. Fall foliage framed our first party. Cast. Crew. Russos en masse. Laughter echoed off beams we'd install together. Toasts to futures unwritten. Dom pulled me aside. Backyard fire crackling. Marry me? Not today. But someday. Someday. I agreed. Sealing with a kiss salt-tanged from tears of joy. Winter whispered warnings. Jake's sentencing appeal denied. But letters arrived, jailhouse scrawls. I was wrong. Forgive. Dom burned them, ashes to wind. His burden now. But humanism tempers. I wrote back once. Anonymous. Forgive yourself first. No reply. Mercy. Unasked. Spring 2027 erupted in verdant fury. Our brownstone garden coaxed green by Dom's stubborn hands, tulips bowing to his care. I rapped normal heart, reviews raving, a voice for the voiceless, raw as revival. Film offers beckoned, indie queer rom-com, me as the lead, opposite a twink with cheekbones for days. Dom read lines with me, gravel voice mangling dialogue, but his pride shone brighter than any spotlight. We settled into domesticity. American dream queered. Sunday brunches with mimosas and Ma's lasagna shipped frozen. Movie nights where he'd critique plot holes like a pro. Sex evolved, less frantic, more intimate. Mornings lazy with him waking me slow. Fingers teasing till I arched, gasping his name. My director, I tease, flipping us, taking control. His moans music to my ego. But conflict, that old friend, knocked polite one May Eve. Dom's phone rang during dinner, construction firm, voice muffled urgent. Promotion. Site manager in Chicago. Double pay. Benefits. My fork stilled. Pasta cooling. Chicago. Yeah. 6 months. Maybe more. We could go together. Hope flickered, then dimmed. My agent buzzing. Pilot in LA. Pilot meaning wheels up soon. Dom. The film's shooting West Coast. We just built this. His face fell, mirroring mine. Long distance? Worked once. Barely. Memories surged. Nights alone. Doubts gnawing. What if it breaks us again? It won't. But doubt shadowed his eyes. Storm clouds gathering. We tabled it, but tension simmered. Silences stretching. Touches tentative. Therapy helped. Couple sessions with a noble shit dyke named Lena, who called our bluffs. Fear's the real saboteur, she'd say, eyeing us over glasses. Not miles. Decision weekend, road trip to decide. Looping Hudson Valley, B&Bs quaint as postcards. First night, in with clawfoot tub. We soaked together, bubbles hiding vulnerabilities. I don't want to lose you, he confessed. Back to my chest, water lapping. Then don't. I kissed his shoulder. Eagle tattoo faded but fierce. But chasing dreams. It's us. Both. Chicago won for him, bridge too far. But compromise, monthly flights. FaceTime foreplay. LA for me. House sublet. Trial run. We vowed, kissing at the airport like soldiers shipping out. Separation hit jagged. My hotel sterile. Scripts piling. His texts daily. Miss your laugh. Sights a zoo. Nights. Video calls steamy then somber. Pixels no substitute for skin. Jake's shadow lingered too. Parole hearing denied. But news clippings forwarded by Frankie. Rehab. Says he's changed. Dom shrugged it off. I couldn't. Old wounds itching. July climaxed in crisis. Dom's call at 3 a.m. Pacific time. Voice wrecked. Angel. Ma's sick. Cancer back. Stage 3. Flight booked frantic. LA fading as I landed O'Hare. Cab to the bungalow a blur. Ma Russo frail but feisty. Chemo looming. Hugging me like I was salvation. My boys, she whispered. Dom's hand in mine over her quilt. Promise me. Don't let go. We didn't. I deferred the film. Family first, Agent grumbled, but understood. Months blurred to caregiving. Hospital runs. Soup shifts. Dom and I tag-teaming like pros. His promotion paused. Chicago a what if. Mine too. But art waited. Life didn't. Ma rallied summer's end. Scans clearish. Fighter's blood, Doc said. We celebrated beach picnic. Lake Michigan lapping. Her laughter weak but real. Now, marry that man. She bossed, winking. Dom blushed. I squeezed his knee. Fall brought reckoning. Back in Brooklyn, brownstone echoing empty, we faced the rift. We almost lost everything, I said, fire crackling. Not everything. He pulled me close, foreheads touching. Found more. Unbreakable. Betrayal's echo? Forgiven. Not forgotten. Therapy's gift. Turning poison to perspective. Jake wrote once more, congrats on the house. Deserve it. Dom replied civil. I let it lie. Human. All of us flawed architects of our ruins and rebuilds. Winter wedding. Small. City Hall crisp December. Snow confetti. Vow simple. In the straight lines and the bends, he said. Ring sliding warm. Forever, I echoed. Ceiling with kiss salt sweet. Honeymoon cabin Adirondacks. Snowbound bliss. Fireplace glow. Bodies entwined. Futures mapped in whispers. Back home. Careers reignited. My film greenlit for spring. His Chicago deferred to remote. Ma visited. Beaming at our porch swing. Tulips dormant promise. Years folded. Kids came via surrogate. 2 boys with his eyes. My curls, adopted later, but family fluid as love. Theater thrived. Me directing now. Angels my legacy revival. Dom built empires. Green sites sustainable. Pride marching with rainbows. Climax resolved not in storm, but serenity 20 years on. Rooftop that rainy dusk where it sparked. City ours still. Grandkids toddling fire escape. Laughter echoing. Never expected this, he murmurs. Hand in mine. Silver threading his fade. Best plot twist, I reply. Kissing under downpour. America, vast and vicious, yielded to our story, dramatic, emotional, romantic, raw, human, to the core. And in that, the happy not ending, but continuing.